Karen Midden is here this morning with us to talk to us a little bit about a lot of stuff. And please feel free to just be flexible and ask questions, comments or anything. Because as you know, we're pending some big transitions here at the college, and I'd like for her to share. Karen was named the interim dean for College of Agricultural Sciences, and I think you'll enjoy hearing her. She put on a great show last night and danced until the wee hours. I think she was the last one on the dance floor, and she just got a ton of energy. So Karen, I want to welcome you this morning, and would you mind coming forward and addressing the group and tell us anything you need to tell.
Okay, thank you.
Come right on up here.
Well, I am totally unscripted today because I just wanted to informally, first of all, welcome you today and say how exciting it is to see generations of people in here. It's great to see the students up at 8 o'clock in the morning and here. If I made it and I was the last one on the dance floor, I'm glad to see you more. I think what I'm going to do is just kind of, I tell it like I see it, and whether it's like it really is or not, I've got people up here who can correct me, but I thought probably what's probably most on your mind is what's going on at the university in the terms of the reorganization, what the status is now, where we stand as agriculture, how I got in this role. So I'll just kind of talk. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. First, I will say that when Mickey Latour decided to step down, it was thought that there would be an outside person coming in to be the interim dean. So I actually thought, I don't even think about it. But it was actually 2 weeks before Christmas break when it was decided to go with someone internal. So it was kind of a last minute decision. Quite frankly, I still am thinking about retiring. But after talking with provost and making some decisions, I thought because I've been in the role of associate dean for the last 4 years and actually feeling understanding a little bit about what this role should be, I decided to accept the nomination, and so here I am. And I'm actually very excited to be in this position. I have been in College of Agriculture since 1985, probably just about in every status. I started as an instructor. Didn't think I'd ever wanted to be here. Like they said last night, I had so much fun, I just decided to stay here because I really am very passionate about students and agriculture. I'm not from a farm, but my grandfather was a small farmer in Tennessee. My mom was one of 8 kids, and I'm not joking when I say I thought vacation meant go work on Grandpa's farm until I was in high school. That's what I used to always do. I spent my summers there. He was like a tomato, squash, okra, black-eyed pea, southern kind of farmer, and he sold a lot. They drove stuff up to Champaign, Illinois, and stuff. So that's kind of my background in farming. I'm actually a native of Carbondale, and my father was actually an optometrist. But anyway, I grew up in a house that was just right where the law school parking lot is. So, I'm old enough, I remember when this building was opened. I was young, but I used to ride my tricycle around, and they had a lot of culverts out. I'm a landscape architect. I think I've always been interested in piles of dirt and rocks and bricks. And I can remember playing here with my brother. So that's enough about me, but I just wanted to tell you a little bit about background about me. So one reason I do want to stay here, and one thing I've been very adamant about the last few years, is really hanging on to what we have. The university farm, what we should be, what our future should be, and knowing that it had great value. Like I said, I say it like it is, but for the last few years, it's been a battle because I've been told that the farm and our college lot has been on this outer onion, as they would say. And so there was threats. I was told being over the farm that you're to go out and figure out how to be completely on your own. And we get state support, and it's very important because we have unit managers, and we're down unit managers right now. We scratch by. We usually had a unit manager for every unit. Right now we have one that does swine and beef. We don't have one for the Agronomy Research Center. So I've just been saying, and they're supported by state money. So we're like, how can this, there's no way. And people go, How much profit do you bring in? What do you mean? Well, you guys know as students, like, we are not just a farm for production. I mean, we do have some production, but that's, that's just a little bit of money. We're out there to teach and to have research opportunities. So it was impossible to even conceive that we would just be on our own without, hurting our mission. So that's one reason why I've just been really, here comes Chris, really working on that. And then we have new chancellor, Chancellor Montemagno, and he calls me in one day and he says, your farm is awesome. Like, you're not living up to what you should be. You've got so much to offer, and agriculture is so critical in the state of Illinois. And we can't just serve Southern Illinois. We need to serve Illinois. So it's kind of like, oh my gosh, we have a chancellor who's saying, let's move forward. Let's be who you are. Now I know some of you are thinking, how's this reorganization going to affect us? Personally, I mean, even though we don't know all that future, it may sound a little bit threatening in the fact that we're going from just a college of ag to the college of life science, or agriculture and life sciences. They may throw the word natural resources in there, but still in the big picture, I personally, from what I've observed and understand, think this is going to be a positive move, because you hear the news and read everything about SIU in general, Illinois universities. We're struggling, we're having trouble. Our enrollment is down already for fall, this coming fall. We're going to see a struggle. And it's not, I'm not going to sit here and try to analyze why. I don't think it's because we can't produce excellent students and have incredible research. I think there's a lot of things that have just been going against us. Not going to blame it just on state budget or just on that. I don't want to address that. My perspective is we need to see, okay, we're here, we have a window of opportunity, there's an opportunity to make some exciting changes, we want to be strong, we need to build, let's do it. So that's what I hope to do in my interim. I don't know how long my interim will be. I do know that we need everyone's support. Rhiannon and I are ready, we're already like, okay, what can we do? The other exciting thing is the chancellor has asked Greg Webb and I to co-chair a farm committee to get input, to give a plan to him by the end of March that he can take and go out and try to find appropriations of money, and then we can all work together with some goals and ambition and deadlines and goals to meet. So we're just starting that. In terms of the reorganization, I don't know how much you've all, probably all the students have heard about it, but essentially, College of Science is, well, all the colleges are sort of being dissolved in a way, and then we're merging. So it is not that like the College of Ag is taking College of Science or something. We're doing a refreshing button. So we will, when we merge, there will be a college, so it'll be the College of Life Science, College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. Potentially, it could be College of Agricultural, Natural Resources and Life Sciences. That's still under discussion. And then within the college, there will be 3 schools in this particular instance. So there will be, and help me with the names, right? There'll be a school of biological sciences. And that one keeps changing.
Earth systems, natural resources, and sustainability.
Yeah, Earth systems, natural resources, and sustainability. And titles are still, the titles are, I think it's the philosophy of what those are supposed to be, so the titles could change. I know that especially the alumni are very aware, some of you, that at one time, the chancellor, and it's just all for discussion, he moved agribusiness economics, his recommendation was, into business. And when he looked at it, looked at the big chart, as a planner, I can appreciate his approach in planning, even though it caused a lot of uproar. There's ways of planning, and one way is, I do this a lot as a professional gaming simulation designer. Like you get all the things that look like they're common. So he put all the business together, and all the sustainable kind of things together, and all the health things together. And that's just a way of planning. And he put them all together on this big board. He's got these big boards in his office, and he grouped them. And then he put them in categories, and then he thought, okay, this looks like this. So when he did that big planning, he put businesses all together. And he saw forestry as being sustainable, in a sustainable category, so he moved it. He saw nutrition being health, so he moved it to health. So he did that, and quite frankly, as a planner, that's maybe an approach I would take. A lot of people say he's going too fast. That may be true, but again, in my personal opinion, we don't have any time to waste. And personally, I was happy to see someone taking some action, and he has done what he said he was going to do. He took action, he put it out there. People are throwing eggs and tomatoes and rotten things at him and giving feedback, but he's listened. So he did move agribusiness economics back to agriculture. He did move forestry out of the sustainable, whatever Gary said it was, I forget, into agriculture. And so he's listening and he's making changes. And what I think is very exciting too, he has, at the request, as one of our faculty persons says, she had a hissy fit in front of him, and he listened. Catherine went, she said, "Did you hear I had a hissy fit?" But she's in fermentation, so now we have fermentation in agriculture as well, which to me is very exciting. Matt McCarroll started a new program called Fermentation Science. It's in the new building on McLafferty. He and I have talked for the last few years about all these dreamy ideas about it's a science of making beer, wine, cheese, sauerkraut, anything that's fermented. And he wants to expand that. So that first he had that in the biological sciences, and so he's moved that to fermentation. So I see this link very exciting because Matt and I've already talked. We're trying some barley trials. We're doing some different things out at the farm where we're sort of expanding what we're doing. So I feel like the school of agriculture is kind of coming to a settled place. I don't know if everyone agrees to that, but I think we're sort of where people have asked that we be moved to, and things are going to move, as I see it. And the next step then, and I don't get all these rules correct and right, but the chancellor has to respect Article 9 and unions and rules. So he's trying to do this correctly, so that he'll put something out, give time for faculty to give feedback, and students and alumni and everyone. So there's so many days to do that. There's been straw votes. This has been very faculty driven. I really have not been involved in this as the dean. They've let whether it's faculty driven or not, they were the ones making the votes. The deans have not had votes. The chairs, the administrators really have not had votes. Now the next step, once the faculty and everyone in the schools get to a point where they feel like we're ready to move forward, it's not going to be like everyone across the whole campus has to move at once, just because there's so many different opinions. So now, then the faculty will have to, they have the options of saying, we're ready to vote that we accept this plan. Once that occurs, and again, I'm simplifying this, once that the faculty approve it, say, we accept this, we're ready to move forward, we accept the plan, they have their final vote, then action can start moving towards actually creating that school. They will select a school director. I'm assuming that there will be nominations for the school director. There will not be departments, at least not at this time. The chancellor does say at some point departments could come back, but quite frankly, I think some of that dissolving of the departments was just to be able to do some type of reorganization process. So once that occurs, then they select a director. So there will be one director over the whole school. So we ended up with a pretty big school. Actually, the the schools that has sustainability in it. Right now, that's just geography and geology at this time. There's some proposals for some other areas, like ecology and some other ones. But once that's done, then we run by operating papers. So currently we have a college operating paper, and that is created by the faculty, and those are all the rules on how do you select committees, how do you select a dean, how do you go, what procedures do you do, everything, how do people go up for promotion, tenure, this, that. Then within the college, every department has an operating papers. So when the school is created, the operating papers will no longer be appropriate because those areas no longer exist. So the school will need to write operating papers, which will be a task because it took us 10 and a half years before I could get all the, finally, when I was associate dean, got the faculty together to change in the operating paper that we were no longer school agriculture, college of agriculture, or agricultural sciences. It's a task to get a lot of people together to agree on things, but it's healthy. So that's kind of the next step, is that they need a director, they need to get the operating papers together, and as far as programs go, as far as like the students sitting here going, oh my gosh, this is what it's gonna do to me, they probably will never know anything happened. This is all administrative stuff. I mean, you're not gonna get moved and kicked out of your room, or your teachers aren't gonna change, program's not gonna change, your advisement, the advisement offices may move into a bigger office or something, but the programs aren't really changing. It's just kind of like reorganization at the top. And that's not to say there won't eventually, they may study it and go, you know what? We shouldn't have, I'm making this up, we shouldn't have medieval dance program anymore. There's no one in it. So they may decide to get rid of that, something like that. So it is an opportunity as well to reevaluate, or we may say, for example, I've been interested in urban agriculture, and one of my students is, one of my past students from years ago is like the urban agriculture, I'll call her Queen of Chicago. She's at the Chicago Botanic Garden. She started urban agriculture she's got 10 acres of farming on top of a lot of green roofs. She's got kids, inner city kids gardening on every little corner of the street. She's got guys in halfway houses coming out of prison, gardening and doing aquaponics and aquaculture and growing produce. She's got these little groups of kids from high schools in the summers now. They're growing foods and they sell it to Gerber baby food. So, there's some areas where we might go, we need to start some new programs. So there's opportunities to do that as well. So is it challenging? Is it tough? Is it kind of frightful because you don't know where you're going? Yes and no. To me, is it exciting? I think so. Quite frankly, for the last probably 5 or 6 years, I seriously have been thinking, how can I get out of this place? I'm burned out, I'm tired, I want to retire. I'm going to max out in April. I'm done. I love this place, but I'm sick of it. Also, I was like, I am so excited. It's like a breath of fresh air in my mind. That's my interpretation. So that's kind of my synopsis. I feel like we need to be positive. We can still drive this car, but we need to be positive. We need to look for the opportunities. We can't stay where we've been. We can't do it. The farm can't do it. The enrollment can't do it. We can't do it. We're still producing good things, but we have too many other opportunities. I can sincerely say that I think agriculture is what empowers people. I say that for a lot of reasons. I've been in the Gambia. I've seen kids who don't go to school because they spend the day carrying buckets of water to their mother's garden, and they just water that the same way every day, whether it needs to be watered or not. Those kids could go to school if they knew we could take to them different ways of gardening and sustainability, if we could help them market their produce. You know, there's a lot that we need to do in agriculture. I'm a landscape architect because environmental management is a critical concern to me. We have a lot of environmental challenges, a lot of global challenges. We have a lot of people who are driven by just thinking of themselves. And I think in agriculture, we're not that way. We really want to help support people, humanity. We live on an earth, we're in a globe. I mean, I get kind of corny, but I mean, that's really the way I think. And I think we have a mission to do, and I think we're all capable of doing it. And you know, that's why I'm so excited to see students in here, because that's what we need. So, that's my pitch. What else can I tell you about? Is there a topic you'd like for me to? Is there another button you want to push?
Any thoughts or questions or comments from what you
Yes.
read?
Yeah, a 1973 version of agriculture economics.
Yes.
Actually, I took a lot of economic courses in the School of Business back then. A couple year in the ag school, but a lot of that was when agribusiness degrees were first getting started. And in order to dodge accounting, I went ag economics.
I've heard that before. Seems like only yesterday.
So the concept of having the ag economics inside the School of Business, I mean, I think that sounds like a good idea, because I don't want to mention other schools, but I do know other schools that offer an ag degree in their School of Business, and it's a much more prestigious degree. You gotta have higher grades, it's different course requirements and all that kind of stuff. So that doesn't sound like a bad idea to me, I don't know. But I guess that's stepping on everybody's jobs and powers, I'm sure that's probably.
Well, I actually was not directly involved in that, but I know that was a pretty hot issue. Very hot issue with a lot of people. I think it's just two different thoughts. What the chancellor would like to see, and actually what I've been asked to charge Dr. Altman with, the chair, is to work with business so that students have the option of staying 4 years in agriculture and for their agribusiness degree. If they choose the 4th year, they could go to business. I will say an experience that I have, and I don't really like I said, stayed pretty neutral about that in a way, but I do know that this is kind of a weird thing, but we have quite a few students who want to get two degrees, 2 bachelor degrees, one in business and one in agribusiness economics. And as corny as this is, here's some kinds of faults a few things that need to be fixed still. Is that if students are getting 2 degrees, business has something called differential tuition, so they have students pay more in business. So for some reason, that does something in the computer system, so that when a student signs up for both majors, they automatically, by default, becomes a business student. And I fought that for a year. But they said, well, it's in a computer glitch, we can't fix it. So our students, there were quite a few students who, because of that, because once they're, so that doesn't mean they can't get both degrees, it just means that business, it's to claim them, they take credit. So that makes them not eligible for us, for Agbasters, for the agriculture scholarships, and plus it's just they wanted this as their home. Those students dropped their business major and just picked up a minor just so they could be agriculture students. Now some of them, after they finish their agriculture, are going back getting those other credit hours, you know, they're sneaking around it. I mean, it's ridiculous, but the fact that those students spoke loudly, they started writing letters, that makes me feel like most students who go into agribusiness economics like the culture of agriculture. It's just the kind of people, I don't know that, but, so I think that was, and some of you can speak up to that, that was a discussion, and that's why there were so many people who voiced that to the chancellor. That, as I understand it, that's why he moved it back. But he would like to have that other option. should someone choose to do that. If anyone has anything to say about that, yeah.
Not about that, but I was talking about that ag farms and stuff. And again, I went to Alabama when I was marketing manager, so I wasn't just doing very well. But I think they're probably getting pressure from the real estate people. They're offering them money. You need to keep that land no matter what. And I think one way you might be able to get money is if you, I don't know if they do this as a thing done, you might be able to get it from private businesses like Tyson or ADM or something. Maybe, I don't know if they could co-sponsor you because they have almost unlimited amounts of money. If they had their name on it, and they said they could, you know, we'll help you.
I'm listening.
You know, I'm saying that.
Unlimited amounts of money.
Once you get that land, the housing, you'll never get it back.
Well, I will say, that whole thing about selling the farm, first of all, we don't even own it. It belongs to the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
So if they sold the farm, it would not come to us. So, I mean, that's I don't know what you call it, bad media, you know, we haven't been, yeah. So, but, you know, that's part of the farm committee we're going to be looking at, getting those people with unlimited amounts of money to.
Okay, I don't know if that's just money, I don't know, I'm not aware of it, but I'm just
But I
saying,
mean, you're
that's
right,
a
that's
place.
what we knew.
You get
And-
private industry when
Yes.
they're making billions or trillions of dollars, you know,
Yeah.
they really do their.
Yeah, and if you look at, I have visited numerous farms like Purdue and Fresno and, the ISU. A lot of these farms are these beautiful updated buildings. They're from endowments. People give endowments, companies, business, private people. You know, so that's something that, you know, we need to be talking about, or endowments and other ways of supporting it.
Just to address this one thing we're talking about, which is just a good example about maybe more to come, is Greg Webb and Steve Wyatt and myself were fortunate to be in that meeting with Chancellor to talk about the agribusiness. And it's just more complicated, and there's more things tied into it than just the name. It almost becomes a perception, but perception is reality. And there's two things that play into it. The first one I'll mention is an eye-opener that the group that went to the Chancellor gave the Chancellor, and that was the high percentage of transfer students coming into this university, and particularly in agriculture. And when we shared some numbers that we just had generally, he says, wow, I need to take a look at that. So that was an awareness that he did not have, which came out of our meeting. The second thing that we shared with him is that we had identified several, not just one or two, but several students that had the perception that if they were not going to be in a program with a channel in ag econ, and they were going to be told they had to be in business, that they weren't coming here. And now you're talking numbers, now you're talking bodies, now you're talking tuition, now you're talking, you know, filling the classrooms. And I think the other thing that we shared was, you know, maybe over time it'll change or whatever, but right now, agribusiness companies want to talk to agribusiness majors. And as we know, when you get out in the workforce, whatever channel you're going in, there's a good percentage you may not be working in that channel, right, Rick? Zoology, and how much zoology have you done?
Yeah, zero.
Yeah, yeah. So life changes as your opportunities come to you. And we shared those 2 or 3 perspectives with the Chancellor. It was a very, very good meeting. He gave us an hour of his time, and I think that meeting, plus all of you voicing your concerns, brought about what Karen just shared with you is a change and how it got moved back. And so there's more of that. So the point I guess I'm making is that while some groups have been able to advocate for some things that we felt were very important, he does listen. And so if there's more, there's a website, he's got a website, he asks for email, he asks for input. You know, continue to encourage you to share that and express your feelings. But I want to just capitalize on that one point that you brought up as to some of the things that we discussed in that meeting and how that change came about, and then some awareness that he did not have. Greg, Steve, anything?
Captured that well.
Okay.
Yeah, one comment I might make on ABE, the point I think we made is, you made there, is that students still have a perception that for them, in their heart, they want to be Aggies. They don't want to go to College of Business. And Dan, to your point there, College of Business may be more prestigious coming out of Harvard, but not in an Illinois school. I don't think, that's my perception. And I think he has, the chancellor is trying to learn more about agriculture in the Midwest. He's from New York City, and he doesn't have the full understanding of what production agriculture means and agribusiness in the Midwest. So he's still learning.
And I would share this, which was kind of funny, and Craig, I felt for you because it was your comment that kind of spirited, but that was not the intention of where you were going. But we kind of were making sure that he kind of understood agriculture and this point that Steve just made and everything. The chancellor informed us of his agriculture background and how extensive it was, and we got a whole new perspective, right? I mean, it was kind of like the conversation was kind of level, and then all of a sudden the voice and the stature kind of came erect, and we were pretty much told what his ag background was, which is substantial, and he knows agriculture.
Rick, if I could add in there, after you all met, the chancellor went with us to Chicago to the Farm Bureau annual meeting. He attended every session, both days. He actually went to the president's luncheon on Monday. And I really think after he came back, that really opened his eyes to Illinois agriculture. And he sends his regrets he's not here today. He wanted to be here. Even President Dunn wanted to be here. He had made a commitment to be here, but he had to be in Chicago then. Both of them are very interested in what we're doing. They support us greatly. And the chancellor already had a commitment this week when he was hired here, so that's why he's not here with you today.
Thank you. Any other questions for Karen at all, from anybody?
I guess we do. Integrating, if you're going to college, they're gonna have, they would know nothing about ag mechanics or plant soil science, anything like that. And you're gonna have to have a higher caliber, I mean, I didn't do it, but there's even, Dan Zwicker, very successful, he's Dodging Accounting. Because they took identical courses on the same books, and accounting's hard. A lot of people are gonna have a hard time, even though they, if you're mixing them in, if they have to take that, some of the people, the farm people, they just wanna do it, you don't really need it, but, if you, should be different choices,
Yeah, well, I mean, I won't personally probably be involved in the curriculum, actually design. I mean, that definitely is something that will be work.
Accounting isn't,
Yeah.
so I was saying,
Right.
put them under.
I took
control.
accounting and I was
As you
not
said, you
smart.
wanna, as Al was saying,
One
you kinda wanna
semester.
take care of your own people here, and you get through, and they can
Right.
still be successful. I think you should have
Right.
control.
Right. And I
You
think-
can always take courses, they're required, maybe the courses they have there, you have to take them out of the college business, and, and it's not so hard, people.
And I believe
should be able to do that.
currently even agribusiness economics, are there some business classes, actual business classes?
I'm talking like, but still spices the same.
Yes.
This probably opens up a can of worms, but has there been any consideration given to trying to come up with a 3-year degree, come out of here with a 3-year degree? And what I'm getting at is that we as the smaller schools, University of Illinois gets all the freshmen, and I'm sure our biggest enrollment is junior college kids coming in here. So when I was here in the early 70s, we had like 25,000 kids on campus, and now we're at 13. So I assume a lot of that is freshmen, sophomores that are no longer here. And offering a 3-year degree, but in order to get that, you had to start here as a freshman.
There have been a lot, well, some students do leave in 3 years. I don't know that we promote it that big, but I mean, especially if students have taken some classes in high school that transfer, or but there are students who complete in 3 years. I don't know that we have that as a defined pathway. Anyone speak to that? But that we just all advertise like you can come here and finish in 3 years. I don't know, Gary, can you speak to that?
You have to have 120 credit hours of according to the Illinois Board of Higher Education to achieve a baccalaureate degree.
Well,
And so,
can't you get that changed?
No. Well, it's leaving some, I mean, a student could do that, but they would be taking like overloads in summer and it would be,
Yeah,
but some students do come in where they have they've taken classes in high school, so it counts towards their core. And, I mean, it can be done, but, and that's, there are students who do that.
Well,
But I know what
I
you're
was just
saying.
trying to think of,
Right.
thinking something out of the
Right.
box that SIU would have different. And you could work with maybe the high schools and use some of those high school hours as credits or transfer them in as credits if they're a smarter kid or whatever.
And that we
But
do.
promote, we have it, because it's the cost of going to college, trying to cheapen up the cost of going to college, try to get it done in 3 years, because I know everybody advertises a 4-year degree, but maybe the majority gets done in 4 years, but my observation, it usually takes them an extra semester because of one reason or the other, because certain courses are only offered at certain times and they fill up and I think colleges at times have deliberately scheduled that to get an extra semester out of the kids to generate revenue. So I was just asking that question to cheapen up costs and have something that's different, that SIU has different than the other schools. And then, you know, say, in order to get this 3-year degree, you gotta start here. You can't come in as a junior college graduate and come 1 year. You gotta start here and just have something different that SIU has that nobody else has.
Maybe to follow up on Dan's, and I think this is what you're getting at a little bit, but maybe in that 3-year degree, it's not a full degree. It's a 3-year, it'd be like a junior college, it'd be an associate's degree, it would be something less than a full degree. But it would be a very intense, full 3 years. And again, like Dan said, in order to get it, you gotta start. I don't know, it might be something that,
We can brainstorm. There's been so many discussions, that probably has been one of them, but.
Other questions? Okay, if not, Karen has a presentation that she would like to make this morning, that we could not do last night, so.
Yes,
Karen.
Oh, they're right in front of me.
Okay, right there, like.
Yeah, see.
You'll have to explain the whole thing, Karen.
Okay, the college does give career, well, it's the alumni, first career, early career, mid-career, and lifetime achievement career. And we present those at the Ag Banquet, but unfortunately, our mid-career person, well, fortunately, because your daughter was getting another award.
My son.
Your son, your
Yeah.
son. So, he was not able to attend the banquet last night, so we are presenting this thing today, and I'm just going to do the official drum roll. Yes,
No,
yes, yes.
it's short.
Okay, it's very short. Okay, the Outstanding Alumni Mid-Career Award is presented to a College of Agricultural Sciences alum who is 11 to 20 years post-graduation. Dr. Christopher Clemens is a 1998 and a 2015 graduate with a BS in Agricultural Sciences and a PhD in Agri-Science Education with an emphasis in agricultural education. He began his career as the agriculture teacher in Highland, Illinois, later serving as the principal at Waterloo High School. After completing his PhD, he joined the faculty at Auburn University as assistant professor in agri-science education. He continues to research the area of agricultural literacy and educator longevity in secondary agriculture education classrooms.
That's a mouthful, isn't
Yes, it is.
it? Try explaining that to somebody.
And anyway, I tell you, when Chris was here, he was a student favorite, a faculty favorite.
I
So,
paid you.
yeah, favorite. I never got my money.
Well, you were my boss, so
Oh,
it doesn't work that way, Karen, you know,
Anyway.
it's one side.
But I'm very pleased to present
Oh,
this
and
to
I'm
you.
very honored to.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, greetings, brothers. I am, of course, an alum of both the house for all 4 years. If I remember correctly, my pin was 397. That's one of those things that all of us know we have burned into our heads. And no matter how old we are and how far we move away from Southern, if somebody still says, how'd you do things in the house? My pen 397, because it meant everything. So, I did notice something, and I joked with my wife and my kids this morning. They, of course, were sleeping. And
Joke too when they're
yeah, they weren't paying too much attention. I said, I'm getting the mid-career award, and my daughter, who is 17, says, so you're not young, but you're not old yet. And I said, no, but I'm moving down that line, which, looking at the back of all your heads, pretty soon, I'm gonna be up here with the no hair. I thank you for laughing at that. I was kind of joking. I was like, do I want to say that? I don't know if we want to still carry in Illinois, but in Alabama, they don't carry. You can just strap it anywhere and walk around. So, I enjoyed my time at Southern, and obviously came back for another 4 years as a PhD student. I currently serve as I-Chapter advisor at Auburn, myself and another gentleman who's retired. I also bring greetings on behalf of Phil Josephson, National AGR, and their reps. We work quite closely with them. I do a lot of work now on the national level with them, and they speak very highly. Tanner was here last year, and I just met with him on Thursday, and he spoke very highly, which of course makes me very proud as an alum, because there are so many things I think we deal with as fraternity members, and not just fraternity, but within the Greek system. And I'm not going to preach here, it's Saturday, I don't have to teach anything. So, but I think we have taken a black eye in a lot of ways. Maybe not our chapter, maybe not my chapter at Auburn, maybe not Alpha at U of I, but the Greek system as a whole. And I want to commend you for staying out of the papers and doing the right thing. And I'm 27, so I don't hear as much. I'm kidding, of course. A lot of my terminology's changed now. If you younger guys you probably heard the stories, but with my pledge class, and I think there's a line here probably that knows what I'm talking about. It was a pledge class, but the new initiates class or the members class. Those are gentlemen that I still have very good relationships with, and I remember sitting back where you are thinking, my God, is this guy gonna quit talking? Really? How many more questions can he ask? That type of thing. But it does come full circle, guys. It does. You step back on this campus, and all those memories come back. And it's one of those things you just, I don't know, eventually you'll bring your family back. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I need to say. You'll understand when you come back. So, again, thank you for letting me speak. I was actually looking forward to talking to the brothers, just because so much of my life now is involved with AGR, and I am proud to say that I was Beta Alpha and did my chant out on Greek Road. So, we still do the chant, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I wish you all continued success. I'm excited to see where the college is going reorganization-wise. Very glad that we're keeping what I consider traditional programs. When I was here, as an undergrad, let's go back to those days, in the College of Agriculture. I understand sometimes they have a better home maybe, but I'm one of those perception. Agribusiness stays here, forestry's here. And anyway, thank you. I have a soccer game. I'm not playing, you can tell. I don't have physique for that right now. But I am getting in shape. The Olympics just wrapped up, so I've got another 2 years for summer to come along. So I'm excited about that. But no, my son now is in soccer this afternoon, so I'm driving back to St. Louis and then back to the Plains tomorrow. If you're all ever down there, spring break's coming up. Auburn is an easy drive. Just head down 65 through Montgomery, take a left, come on over and stop by the house. We have 46 rooms in the house, about 28 guys in the house, and close to 1,000 alums. So just a much older chapter than what we were. But I will tell you, when National speaks of Alpha Gamma Rho, and they know obviously I'm for Beta Alpha, always at the top of the list. And I commend you and your noble rulers and your executive council, and of course the alumni council for all the work that you've done. And once a Saluki, always. There you go. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Steve, would you stand up? Our Lifetime Achievement Award winner, so. Artist trophy is plaque. There you go. Thank you.
Well, Karen, thank thank you very
Thank you.
much. We really appreciate your time this morning, especially on
Absolutely.
Saturday coming in after a party night. So does-
I do that every Friday night.
But do appreciate you being in the position you're in and having the heart that you have for the college.
Thank you. If I can help or answer any questions anytime, shoot me an email.
Okay.